Hi, it's Helena. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about the MBA lie. Let's talk about the real truth about the MBA, because I've been talking a lot about it, and there's so many other master's programs that have business administration attached to them, your MBAs, focus on healthcare and all of that. Decide on which leadership path that you need. The MBA is not required, okay? But for those of you that are going to get your MBA, I've been talking a lot about it because people have asked me, how do you get into executive leadership? And I have also begged over years, my friends that are in executive leadership positions to, because I've always been around executives. I've even been an executive director. Okay, so I run my own business as a CEO. Who's higher than a CEO, right? But from a corporate perspective, it's completely different to me, because you have to have everybody buying in, and you have to get shareholders to pour money into a company. And so I wanted them to talk to you about becoming an executive, but I'm going to have to be the one. So I do offer an executive leadership coaching package for those of you that are wanting to get into executive leadership, but it starts with that MBA. So the problem that I've been having with it, because I also I'm talking a lot to Gen Z and millennials. I'm going on campuses. I'm talking to young Black women, young Black girls, or young Black professionals. Well, you know what I mean. And I'm speaking to them on the MBA. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna get that MBA. I'm gonna get that MBA. But it doesn't work like that. So this is going to come across, it may come across as disingenuous. It may come across as hypocritical, because there's no perfect time to get the MBA. Okay, it's not something that you rush and get, but it's also something that you rush and get. Okay, so please filter through this based on what your goals are. I do offer an executive leadership coaching package. I offer coaching, period. But if you are working to get into executive leadership, I will coach you and help you do that. I've helped hundreds of people get into executive leadership, like the actual C-suite positions. Okay. The very first thing is, if you are young and you're just starting, you're working on your bachelor's, or you're in high school determining, like, what is my career path going to look like? If you are young and I want to have a family, I know I want to get married, you're that person, because I know we have a lot of people that are not married and they are child free, and they have made that decision for the rest of their life. Okay. But if hey, I'm going to get married, because my daughter, she's 15. She already knows. She's like, I want to get married. I'm going to have 3 kids. So since you already know that, go ahead and get the MBA before you have family, because once you have a family, it will take you a long time to get these degrees, because the MBA doesn't expire. You can always upskill it. You can always, if there's anything that needs to be updated, it can be updated in certifications. Your degree will not expire. Okay, but things are changing, and they're changing quickly. So I would say get the MBA now while you're young. But if you're older, I'm 46. If you're in your 40s, you've been thinking about getting the MBA, because now, okay, you've been stuck in the same director position forever. And you're like, hold on, why am I not getting promoted to VP? Why am I not getting promoted to CFO or CEO or CTO or CMO or CAO? What's going on? It's the MBA. You need it. So it can be any age. So I hope that makes sense. But it's really for executive leadership, for senior leadership positions. And it's definitely important for Black women to get it if you want to be an executive. I'm talking about doctors, attorneys, people that run hospitals have an MBA. Not all of them, but at least 53%. People that run your company, the company that you just went to work at, they have MBAs. Not all of them, but a big majority. Okay, the people that are running, because that's what it's for, business administration. Okay, if you have no desire to be in leadership, get off of this. Okay, this is for people that want this whole video, get off of it. But if you already have an MBA, or you're thinking about getting an MBA, this is for you, because I'm going to talk to you as a career coach, everything I wish somebody had told me, so that I could tell my clients, because now my clients coming with it. They are arm strapped, ready to get those positions, and are getting those positions. Okay. So I do personalized one-on-one coaching. and all of that. But I'm going to just give you some general things. People ask me, does it matter where I get my MBA? 100%. 100%. Since I'm talking to younger people, I'm going on campuses, I'm talking to young Black ladies about their career paths. Of course, I want to get it fast. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my bachelor's, my master's. I'm going to just go straight and get my MBA, and I want to be in leadership. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. That MBA means credibility, respect. You are literally telling them that you are a walking return on investment. When they invest in you, they're going to get like 10, 20, 100 times back because you have an MBA, because of where you got the MBA. So some people are like, I want to get my MBA now. So they're getting these online classes. Nobody heard of where this MBA is. And that will only matter if you're in an industry that is not competitive. If you are in a competitive industry like finance, tech, healthcare, pharmaceutical, oil and gas, you need an MBA from a highly reputable institution, Harvard, Stanford, Columbia. Some people have double. They have the MPH, the MA with the MBA from top universities. Yes, our Howards count too, Spelman's, Morehouse, Brown. But it matters because you are, like I said, you're coming in as a business. When you're sitting down, you're doing an interview, you are the business. And you're basically saying, with my reputation, with my MBA from Harvard University, I don't have an MBA. Okay, just, definitely didn't go to Harvard. But I knew, so my situation is I have a master's. But I knew, so I got my undergrad from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. I've mentioned this many times. Go Salukis. But even though they offered me a full ride to get my master's at SIUC, I knew that it was recognized as a party school, as easy, not competitive. You want to get into a university that has a hard acceptance rate. So one of our I don't know if I want to say it's the best, because it's a great school. It's St. Louis University. I knew it had a better prestigious reputation than SIUC for a master's program. So I knew having St. Louis University would carry more weight for me in my career, which is done for the past 20 years, than it would from SIUC. But your MBA is literally just a piece of paper, because you have to add all the value into that paper. So I knew that I had to go to a reputable university. I could not just get an online master's degree. Okay, so the only way is if you hardly have any competition, and the only thing that's going to set you apart and get you even higher is to have an MBA, and it could be from anywhere. But even when I launched my event planner certification program, many of you know, and it's been a 7-figure program, even when I launched that program, what really launched it was, first of all, I was always offered in Atlanta, which has apathy. They're like, I don't care, she'll have another one next month. So the enrollment kept going lower and lower and lower and lower, because they're like, oh, I don't care. But when I started offering it in LA, Chicago, Texas, just going all over the place, 24 cities a year, then people are like, oh, I want to go. She only has it in Atlanta once a year. Now I have it in Atlanta like biannual. I don't even have it in Atlanta hardly anymore. They're like, oh my God, why don't you have it in Atlanta more? Because y'all just take it for granted. So it wasn't until I was invited to Harvard and going to Cambridge, and even Cambridge School, and even Tufts University, and even what was this? There's some other, what was it? Boston University. And once I started going to those universities, and even speaking at UCLA and Penn State, like doing lectures and fireside chats, and then my event planner certification program too, and teaching the admin. So once I was able to teach the admin and the students that were on Harvard's campus, they were actually Harvard students and Harvard admin taking my class, I put that, and even MIT, I put that with my event planner certification. I said, oh, Harvard, partner with Harvard, partner with MIT, partner with Penn State. Then more and more people started registering. So what happens is, you bringing in that status improves the quality of candidates and customers that they have at that university, at that school, or that company. They're going to use your education. Some XYZ online MBA, that doesn't add to them. Okay, they want to create a pipeline of reputation, trust, respect. And then what I found with the MBAs, they come over, they get the 600, 700, 800 to multi-million-dollar careers as C-suite executives. They are bringing in their colleagues. So if I went to Harvard University and I got up here, got this position now in C-suite executive, I can bring people that I used to work with, because you can just appoint who you want once you're in C-suite. Okay, you'll still have to have them. I have worked so closely with C-suites that they literally will give their friends, hey, write up your job description based on what you're qualified to do, and I'm going to pass it on to HR. They have their friends write up the job description. Please work with me. Stick with me. I'm going to just need 5 more minutes of your time. They literally will have, and then they know if I bring up one Harvard grad with an MBA, they're going to bring another. There's a pipeline. It's going to increase their reputation, their respectability. People are going to trust this company more. So you can't get it from anywhere. You have to get it from the top schools. But even if it's not the top schools, because I know that you're like, oh my God, that's going to put me in debt. You definitely want your company to pay for your MBA though. I would definitely have my company pay for it, because it can help any company. It translates in, because people say, oh, it's so generic. Yeah, in your 20s. But once you start really picking out your industry and growing in that industry, that it's not generic anymore. If I attach it to pharmaceutical, it's not it's generic anymore if I'm a private equity firm and I got an MBA. It's not generic anymore if I'm in medicine and I'm a doctor. It's not generic anymore. So you can attach it, but you can attach it later. That's why I say go ahead and get it now, because you can always use it. Okay, but you can't use it as just a piece of paper. Okay, I'm finna get my bachelor's, get my MBA. Dang, nobody won't hire me, because you're not a walking return on investment. You're not a walking brand. You're not a walking anything. You got to get experience with that MBA. So my last point is this. I hope you understand. But my last point is making sure that when you get that MBA, that it's almost like a wild card. You know, people ask me, should I get, hey, I have a bachelor's in, healthcare administration, and I have a master's in healthcare administration. Should I have just gotten my MBA instead of my master's in healthcare administration? Do you know that there are actually doctors and nurses, clinical managers that have been promoted to C-suite executive because they had the same thing. They had, the bachelor's of the healthcare administration bachelor's, the master's of healthcare administration, and then they added that MBA on top of that later on when they were like stuck. Like I said, you're stuck. You've been in something 15, 20 years and you haven't been promoted to VP yet. And then they get that MBA, and they get it from a company where everybody else has it. So if everybody else has their MBA, maybe from, Duke is still high, but wherever they have their MBA, maybe somewhere from Nebraska somewhere, okay? But everybody else has it wherever they have their MBA. It may not be a Harvard, it may not be some crazy expensive university, but it's where you see mostly everybody else, because people, they want to bring in people that they know, the reputation that they know. If I say, hey, I'm an SIU, okay, you're going to have to really prove yourself to me, because I know it's a party school. But you at SLU, you can't even barely breathe and eat. It's so much work at St. Louis University. So I know you're coming with it, because your work ethic has to be impeccable. So some people just go off the reputation. But I'm just saying, when you get that MBA, it's not enough to just have the MBA, because I know everybody wants a microwave life. They want everything to happen instantly. Get it. If you can get it early, get it early. But when you feel like you're stuck and you're trying to move up and you can't figure it out, and you're a high achiever, you are a high performer, because that's really who it's for. People that want to make a lot of money. People want to build wealth, because you can build wealth with a job. I know everybody say, get a business, get a business. You can get a business and run corporate and have them paying your benefits and equity and get stock options. Like, you can really make a killing. I'm telling you, I have some friends, multi-millionaires in the C-suite because they got an MBA. I'm working on a master's. They're working on an MBA. They all masters. Just an MBA is, I just put in a separate category because as a career coach, I know once people add that MBA on top of that MHA or whatever that master's is. So my point is, go ahead and get whatever master's you want. I'm just separating the MBA. I hope you can stick with that. I'm just separating the MBA because I know that it is a determining factor for executive leadership, for senior leadership, for getting you unstuck. Okay. Everybody doesn't need, some people have gotten, because I've mentioned PhDs in other videos, some people have gotten into executive leadership with a PhD, but they also have come with a brand that they can bring in. Their own customers follow them, their own clients follow them. That reputation, that stamp from that university follows them. So you can't just grab some online, whatever, they just funneling out MBAs because they know how important they are. But you got to be very selective. So that's my point. I think it carries a lot of weight, but you are the weight. You are the return on investment. You are a walking business. So even when, I'm going to close with this, even with my master's, when I took a break, because last year, and I had, been a business owner for 15 years, but I decided to take a career break to really focus on my daughter. And as far as entrepreneur break. So I went ahead and got a corporate job. I got my corporate job in 2 weeks because I had a master's degree. But not only a master's degree, I have a brand. When you Google my name, it's nothing but respect, 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 respect. They're like, shoot, if somebody Googles her, she works for us. It's all good because we like, don't be on social media. Don't be on. What are you on with social media? What is social media saying about you? If social media is saying nothing but good things about you, they want that. They want a good social standing, a good social presence. And don't be worried because there's a rise of an entrepreneur now. Companies are favoring people that have a strong business work ethic, whether you have an MBA or not. Do you think, and let me finish with this. I'm not going back to get an MBA. I've been in business for 15 years creating 7-figure funnels for people and have the proof. They don't care. They don't ask me if I got an MBA. They ask me, where's the websites of the people that you work with and the people that you grew and the program that you grew? So if you already have results, if you already have a brand, absolutely you don't need an MBA. But if you're competing with like all the doctors where I'm at, they all got MBA. Every single one. And they have them from Harvard, Columbia, and Stanford. Maybe Yale and Duke. Some from Brown. A couple from, it's Harvard, Stanford, and Columbia are the top ones. And people are like, oh my God. Not only are they expensive, they're hard to get in. It's very teeny weeny acceptance rate. And that looks good for the company that's hiring you. Because they're like, dang, it's hard to get in there. They don't want you to get an MBA where it's so easy to get it. They want it to be hard. So they're like, we got the best candidate. Okay, I'm done. Let me know your thoughts. Did you get the MBA? Does it feel useless to you? Do you understand what you have to do with the MBA now? You have to put some experience behind it. You're going to have to work your way up. You're going to have to work your way up in doing system-based changes at your company. If you're a clinical manager and you're trying to, you're in healthcare, as my background, healthcare, tech, and finance. So that's why you always hear about it. But there's a million other industries, okay? Or at least hundreds of other industries. But if you're a clinical manager and you've been a nurse and you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I become a director? You're going to need to, I talk about it in another short video, be an interim. See, once, a director is out that's been fired or resigned, ask your boss if you can serve as an interim, and then serving in that interim role, then you have to really go to another company and get the director position because your company is just going to inch you up in a 10 or 20% increase with a promotion. And then after you get the director, then when you get that next job, then you want to get the VP interim, and then you go to another company. People aren't staying at companies forever anymore. They stay at them like 3 to 4 years, and then they go to the next one. So build that MBA, build your reputation, build your respect, but that piece of paper is all about your value and your reputation, and you're coming to the company and say, hey, yeah, this is what I can bring to you. It's not about what they can do for you, because yeah, they can pay you. That's what you're getting from them, but they're also looking at you. What can you do for us? How are you building our reputation? How are you building and increasing our retention? How are you bringing in more customers and clients because of you and your MBA? And if your MBA can't do that, then you need a coach, and I'm willing to coach you. Okay, so I'll coach you, talk to you later, your career coach on here, whether you can afford me or not. I'll be posting some more videos. So let me know your thoughts about the MBA. Is it useless to you? Is it working for you? And like I said, this is for leadership. This is for high achievers. It's not for everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.